Hey guys, are you ready to transform your mind so you can transform your life? Coach Mirna brings you one-on-one coaching and expert guests weekly to help you to grow. Because happiness is the progressive realization of a worthy goal.
Looking for personal growth? Let's do it. Whether you're a garage entrepreneur or IPO ready, Shopify is the only tool you need to start, run, and grow your business without the struggle. Shopify puts you in control of every sales channel. So whether you're selling superfood smoothies or offering organic omega-3s, Shopify's all-in-one e-commerce platform got you covered. Sign up for $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/transform, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/transform to take your business to the next level today. Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio, podcast, and television show. I'm your host, Life Coach Brennan Young. And sitting in the guest chair today is Dave Conway, personal development and mindset coach. And Dave and I are going to be talking today on the topic, the habits of ultimate manifestors. Welcome, Dave.
Hey, how are you doing?
Yes, doing great. Wow. Yes. I can't wait to get into our conversation today. All right. Well, let me give you guys a brief introduction. Dave Conway is the best kept secret of the personal development industry, having coached over 25,000 entrepreneurs and coaches worldwide. He is considered one of the world's best mindset mentors working today. As the founder of Conway Consulting, Dave helps people discover the power within their minds to turn that power into results unlike anything they've ever experienced. All of this and much more has been made possible through the study and practice of manifestation. Dave spent his early career as a carpenter, making $5,000 a month in income until he was introduced to the concept of manifestation. And once he witnessed its true power, he was hooked. Dave started Conway Consulting, where he continued to serve and mentor entrepreneurs and coaches worldwide, permanently leaving behind his carpentry career and furthering his income from $5,000 a month to over $550,000 a month. Wow. I know you want to know how to do that. So definitely stay tuned. Dave credits his success to the genuine desire to empower people and show them how powerful they really are. As a regular contributor to Forbes.com and Entrepreneur.com, he is known for his action-oriented approach to mindset coaching that produces lasting and life-changing results. Dave understands the mindset as well as the skill set it takes for an entrepreneur to succeed. Wow, that was a powerful introduction, Dave. So let's not waste any time. Let's dive right in. So, whenever I hear the term manifestation, I go into my own little world where with the stuff that I do, which is like visualization and visualization and going into the quantum field and looking at your I'm trying to think now of what is the word I'm looking for? Anyway, what Abraham Hicks teaches, the stuff that's around you and bringing it in unmanifested potential and bringing it into you. So what is your process of manifesting? How do you teach people to go from $5,000 a month to $550,000 a month?
Yeah, love it. So it'd be fairly similar in the way of the initial process. The most important part that I found is that we need to have a clearly defined goal. So I think the idea of goal setting is such a common word that we're under the assumption that we know exactly what it is. But I think whenever a person goes out and sets a goal, so for example, let's say there's a person who wants to go from earning $5,000 a month to $100,000 a month, or $5,000 to $50,000 a month, whatever the goal is. It's not enough just to have a goal. You want to start to build a clear mental picture. So whenever I hear the word goal, so as step one, like whenever I hear the word goal, I automatically switch it to a clear mental picture. We want to be operating with a picture all the time. So I was first introduced to manifestation at 18 years old by the incredible Bob Proctor. And I spent the next 15 years trying to create success in my life. And I never did. I was never able to produce anything with it. So that's unfortunate. But what I miss is I missed the memo on image building clear mental pictures to understand and believe that it's a bona fide power, that it's actually the most powerful power that you have. And you can start to leverage the laws of the universe when you start to do that. So the first step would be to build a clear mental picture of really what you want, right? Some sort of image that would reflect that thing, circumstance, situation, or income is already been achieved, that would reflect that. Then after you do that, you want to sit down and ask yourself, because I personally believe that true manifestation is manifesting a new version of yourself. So we are naturally, as people, every person on the planet is naturally producing their results. You may not like all your results, but you are the one producing them. And you're naturally producing them. So when it comes to habit, we are naturally in the process of expressing those habits all the time. So if we want to change an outside result, for example, income, we need to first learn how to change the inside. And if you don't have it mentally, you don't have it. So after you set that first goal and after you build that first clear mental picture, then you ask, the second step is ask yourself, who's the man, woman, or person that has achieved that goal? How do they walk, talk, dress, act? How do they live? What's their attitude? How big is their team? What kind of car do they drive? What do they do for work? How good are they at it? Are they an advancing person? And really start to dig in to the consciousness of that individual. And I found that as you start to do that, you'll start to naturally produce a different result. I think there's a lot of people in the world that are informed about manifestation, but their results reflect, just as mine did for 15 years, that they may as well never learned about it.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad that we're not, reinventing the wheel, because when I work on manifestation, the word I was trying to find earlier was vortex, right? That's what Abraham Hicks talks. You talk about the laws of the universe. But I'll tell you, I have been doing exactly what you're doing. I manifest a few things. As I was preparing for this conversation, I remember there's one time that I had because I'm also a realtor, and I had this house that I was listing, that it was a brand new house, but it was a small house. And it sat in the market for a long time because everybody would go in and say, oh, the bedrooms are too small. The living room is too small. The kitchen is too small, right? And then one day I was in the airplane, because a lot of times whenever I do my visualization, people are always telling you to go into the quantum field. And to me, the quantum field is in the air. I could be wrong. But I was in the airplane and I visualized, selling that house. And I visualized people walking in there and saying, oh, this is perfect. And as soon as I came off the airplane, someone called me to book a showing. Now, that person didn't buy, but in a couple of days, I sold it. So that was one of the things, the ones that I just remembered. But I visualize and try to manifest and do my energy all the time. So let's touch on what was the gap between you doing visualization and trying to manifest for 15 years, and what exactly happened when you actually succeeded? What was missing?
Oh, so there was three core ideas that I was missing for those 15 years. The first idea was the concept of a paradigm. So a deep conditioned version of yourself, like the way that you perceive the world. So a multitude of habits fixed in the subconscious mind. I didn't know that. So the biggest part of my paradigm that had held me back for those 15 years was work harder was baked into my paradigm. So I really did think that working hard would equate to success. Well, after living like that for 15 years, 60, 70, 80-hour days were not uncommon for me. And by the time I was 33 years old, working my butt off at trying to create success, financial success, and just success in general, I was broke mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially. I was at the point that I was working so much, I worked 2 days, 48 hours straight, just worked. And I was at the point that even as a 33-year-old man, I lived in a 2-story at the time. The paint on the banister was starting to get rubbed off, because when I would go down, I would like lean on the banister.
Right.
Yeah, so I wasn't visualizing. That's the key. I want to be clear about that. I was not visualizing. I was like into personal development. I was into it, but I wasn't. I just missed so much. So number one was the paradigm. The second is the self-image. So I'd missed the memo. I don't know, in those 15 years, I missed the memo of identity and self-image and building a new image of yourself. So here I am trying to get somewhere when I actually am not really changing the inside. And I wasn't systematically changing it. I didn't really know. When I started to visualize, I used to have to say this because I actually didn't believe in visualization. Before I started every visualization, I used to say, I know what I'm doing. I'm influencing my subconscious mind with clear mental pictures, and those images must produce in the outside world. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm creating images, and I'm impressing them upon my subconscious mind, and those images must manifest in the outside world. I would have to say that over and over and over and over again, just to condition my mind to even believe what I was attempting to do. I think a lot of people, and I used to be one of these people, I used to hate the word manifestation. And I used to also hate the word abundance. Like, that's how messed up I was. So I had to recondition the mind even to believe in these exercises. So the second was the self-image. So I realized that I could not outwork my self-image. So to actually take moments every day, 30 minutes, up an hour every day. And I know, like, these numbers, people are like, oh, that's a lot of time. Not if you understand what you're doing. Like, you're going to spend the time anyway. You really are. You may as well start to leverage the universe. So that was the second. And the third was the universal laws. When I started to study and understand that everything in the universe is energy, and energy is all controlled by law, and that I live in the universe, therefore I am an energy, and that I am also governed by law. As I started to understand that, my life started to change very, very fast. And in the initial stages, my income went from $5,000 a month, over $100,000 a month. That took me 31 months. Once I embodied that, it never went back. It never went back. And then through these same ideas, I crossed 2, I crossed 3, I crossed 4, I crossed 5. My biggest month to date is $980,000 in a single month. And like, this is crazy.
Wow.
Like, it really is. It's first world problems now, Myrna. It's first world.
Wow. That is amazing.
Shopify is the commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. Usually, improvements don't come overnight, but once in a while, one small fix can catapult you to the next level. If your commerce platform is holding your business back, you owe it to yourself to see what Shopify can do for you. Whether you're a garage entrepreneur or IPO ready, Shopify is the only tool you need to start, run, and grow your business without the struggle. Shopify puts you in control of every sales channel. So whether you're selling satin sheets from Shopify's in-person POS system or offering organic olive oil on Shopify's all-in-one e-commerce platform, you're covered. And once you've reached your audience, Shopify has the internet's best converting checkout to help you turn them from browsers to buyers. Sign up for $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/transform, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/transform to take your business to the next level today.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Do you have a tendency to compare yourself to others? Does social media play a part in that? What do you do when you get caught up wishing your life looked like someone else's? Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy other people's lives. It might look like they have it all together on their Instagram, but in reality, they probably don't. One of the benefits of therapy is that a therapist can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. Therapy is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/TYM today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/TYM. So what you're saying is did you visualize yourself making, let's say, $1 million a month, and how you would walk and how you would talk and where you would live and your team? Did you go to the end? Is that what you did?
Yeah. So there's two parts. There's two things that really started to throw gasoline on these processes for me. So the first one was actually just learning how to build clear mental picture. So when I started to visualize, like back in 2017, I could not hold an image or an idea for longer than like 5-10 seconds. So through repetition, I started actually build up my mental muscle. I could actually visualize up to 30 minutes. So I was left brain. I was what I call visualizationally impaired. Okay. So I was like, I had a disability. All right. I was just walking left. And so my first image that I built was, at the time too, I wanted this new Jaguar XKR car. It was like a dream car of mine. So what I did was I built an image. So I brought in a lot of my world that I had in front of me. I had to do it this way because I just couldn't even conjure up an image any other way. So what the visualization was is that I would see myself. So I'd pull up to my bank in this car, and my bank at the time had all glass, like glass walls or glass doors, so you could see yourself. So I'd pull up into the parking lot. I would feel the car. I would feel like I'd hear the car turn off. I'd open the door. I'd get out of the door. I'd walk up. I'd see my reflection in the glass. I would reach out. I'd touch the handle. I'd open. I'd feel the coolness of the metal. Like I'd feel it. Then I'd go into the vestibule. And you know how like energy shifts? Like banks are almost like libraries. You know, it's like kind of like
right.
It's very subdued. Yeah, yeah. That's true.
Quiet in there, right? Yeah.
Very. It's like a library.
I never even thought of that until you mentioned that, but it's true.
Yeah, everything has a vibration, right? So I'd go into the vestibule, then I'd open that, and then boom, I would feel that shift in energy because we're all familiar, like you're familiar with it too, and probably a lot of your listeners are. Then I would go in, I would see the car, I'd feel it, and I can't even tell you how many times I did this visualization, and then I stand there, and then I'd look over, I see a teller, and at the time it was this lady named Lori, and she would nod, and I'd say okay, and I'd go in, I'd get my wallet, I'd take my card out, I'd put it in, I would put it into the thing, I'd feel the keys, and then I would ask her, she said, what can I do for you today? And I'd say, how much money is in, and then she would say the $100,000. And I just kept reliving this over and over and over. I'm talking probably thousands of times.
Wow. That is,
and the day, yeah, and then the day came when it started to happen. That's right. Now, the second major shift when it came to the self-image. So that was a bit of my starting visualization journey. the second biggest shift that I think really made one of the most massive ones was I'd been trying to like create success for so long that I actually got to the point that I actually had become like a fairly angry person. Like you're trying to do things and you keep failing, like you can get pissed off, you know? So I remember this one time I really got sick of myself, and I was up in my bathroom, and I got so sick of myself. I was just really annoying myself. And I went face to face with myself in the mirror, and I really tore into myself. And eyeball to eyeball, I said, "Who the hell do you think you are?" You know, really like, "Who the hell do you think you are?" And I was like, "Who the hell do you think you are? Like, why do you like this and not that? Why do you believe this and not that?" And what I did was I got rid of Dave Conway. So like he wasn't like I was raised a Catholic boy. I was nothing. There was no Dave Conway. I had no beliefs. So I wiped all of my current belief system out. Every night when I went to bed, there was no Dave. I was just this like void. I was just the darkness or whatever. In the morning I would wake up, and then I would decide, who do I want to be? Like who's the man? And I would just endeavor for the next 16 hours, 18 hours to try and embody that man. Then win, lose, or draw, however the day turned out, I would neutralize it and I would get rid of Dave Conway again. Through this process, I completely changed my entire belief system, like 100% total revolution of it. Because I don't believe that change is in just trying to push more ideas in. I think our quantum leaps are contained in letting go. We are so hooked on who we are and what we have. We're conditioned for it.
Yeah. Wow. So many circle backs there. Well, the first one I would say is that I had, I know that energy work, which is what I call it, energy work is so, so important. And I work on manifestation and I work on energy work, but I'm so glad I'm having this conversation, and I'm so glad I'm able to share it to my listeners, because anything that you want in life, one of my messages is, before you can hold it in your hand, you've got to hold it in your head. So you've got, your imagination, visualization, all that. But I'm like you, and I have not done the work in order to fix that. I cannot create mental pictures. And I heard that if you just think about it, because I'm very auditory, I've heard that if you just think about it, and I spent so many years trying to activate my third eye, because I was told in order for you to see into the future and see the things that you're talking about, you got to activate your third eye, your pineal gland. And anyway, I never got there, but I have a meditation that I've done a couple of times, similar to you, where I pull up, because mine is very small, 50,000. And, I want to have $50,000 in the bank, and I pull out, I don't visualize the car. I'm just visualizing the money. I'm depositing this money and I'm counting it out to the teller. So that was my part. But yeah, so how long did you do that one for? So that, people that are listening are clear. How long did you do this Jaguar visualization?
31 months.
31 months. Every day.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So that's amazing, because, they say it's like prayer. You keep praying until you get the answer. You don't just pray one time, right? So there you got
it. That's right.
What was that?
Yeah, exactly. We got to know what we're dealing with. Like, this paradigm is very old. So the paradigm is formed at conception through genetics, 50% from mom, 50% from dad. And then you have your environmental conditioning that happens after you're brought into the world. But you got to understand, like, you're picking up belief systems. Now we know, like, genetically, that there's genetics that move, like, our height, our eye color, our skin color, our hair color, like the whole thing is all genetics, right? So we know that physically. But what people aren't fully aware of is that there's your belief system has been passed too. And you might be walking around with a paradigm from great-great-grandpa Jebediah in 1890 or something. And, his belief system, the people that deal in addictions know this too. So it's like you might have like an aunt or something that has like an alcoholism, and then all of a sudden someone else gets in a different family and it like jumps around. This is all genetic. So when it comes to that, we need to understand what the paradigm is. Like the paradigm is very, very old. It's very old. And the root of mankind's paradigm, like I'm talking thousands and thousands of years old, the root of mankind's paradigm is that we're unsupported. That there is not a power that will support us. And that's called faith. We need to recondition the mind. That's why when I started to visualize, I say, I know what I'm doing. If you don't believe it, you ain't getting it.
You ain't getting it. Yeah. Which is why people say that affirmations don't really work, because you can talk till you're blue in the face, and if your mind doesn't believe what you're saying, it's not going to happen. Wow. All right. Well, we spent a lot of time on that, on the first question, because that's amazing. It's beautiful. And like I said, I love this conversation because, again, I dabble in so many different things. And these are one of the things that I dabble in. I dabble in energy and manifestation. And, I walk in the park, and I'm using the energy of the trees and all that stuff, and Gaia and all those things I put into my energy work. But you know what? If I'm taking away one thing from this conversation, is that you can't just do it once in a while. You have to do it every day. You have to do it all the time. And I like what you said. I don't want to miss it, for anyone to miss it, how you stripped away your thoughts or who you are. And it reminds me of I spent a lot of time doing Joe Dispenza's meditation, because that's what he's doing. He's manifesting by tapping into the unified field. And a lot of things, what he said is you've got to know no one and nowhere and no time and all that. So it's almost similar to what you're saying, is that you got rid of the Dave, the person that has all these beliefs and who you are. And then you just conjure up who you want to be. And it's almost like what they're saying that, alternate universes. And I started doing that a little bit, where, you're saying that you are a different person in an alternate universe. So if there's a Myrna in the alternate universe, maybe this Myrna has got all the things that I want. and that's how I do it. But again, I don't spend enough time on it. So yes, I like what you said. Every night and every morning that you've got to do this work, and several times through the day. So yeah, anything you want to circle back on that before we move on?
Yeah, like there's a Myrna inside of you right now that will naturally produce the 50,000. Like she's already there. Every potentiality, every self-image, every identity already exists in you right now, because energy neither created nor destroyed. Mm-hmm. So there's something blocking her, and it's the current one. Mm-hmm. Right? Because she has her habit nature. That's right. So if you can neutralize her and really start to spend more time with the 50 grand Myrna, and the key word there is that'll naturally produce it. You see, there's no force involved. There is a version of you that will naturally produce it. There's a version of you that'll produce 100 a month too, like whatever you decide. But to understand that you can outperform. So regardless of more information, there's two ways to alter the paradigm. The first is an emotional impact. So that's when something happens in your life and it's like, boom, changes you. Your whole life just changes your perception of the world in which you live. And then it changes your perception of yourself. Mm-hmm. Now, most emotional impacts are negative. So what they do is they get fixed, and the trauma is basically what they are, and they become beliefs. Mm-hmm. But the second way to change a paradigm is repetition of thought. You are the culmination of images and suggestion, and up till this point, and your future will be the culminations of images and suggestions from this point on. So as Earl Nightingale said, he said, you are now and you will become what you think about. So if we want to make a change, like I've had people say, how long do you do that for, Dave? How long do you affirm? How long do you hold an image for? I do it until I have it in the physical world, and I don't stop until I have it.
Yes. Yes.
But some people, they do it for 2 days and then they say, hey, what the heck? Or they get that little win, the little thing, and then they stop doing the same thing. It's like, that is not a part of you yet.
Great.
Because you are what you repeatedly do.
Do you believe in magic? Twilight Wing is a professional spiritual healer who wants to help you access the spiritual realm to create change in your life. Do you require healing? Are you bothered by entities in the fourth dimension and would like to banish all unwelcome spirits? What about money? Twilight Wing can help you clear your money blockage. Visit Twilight Wings Magic on Etsy. Get one-on-one service and trusted 5-star spells that have worked since ancient times to discover wealth, rebuild your relationships, and help you find success. Visit Twilight Wings on Etsy by searching for Twilight Wings Magics and regain control of your spiritual well-being. That website again is TWILIGHTWINGS
Preach, preach, preach. I'm receiving. All right. I'll call you when I got that 50,000.
Do it.
All right. I love it. All right. So the other thing you said is that mindset mentorship is important. Are we talking again about what we're just talking about, getting rid of your beliefs and the paradigms, or you're talking about something else?
Yeah, so I think we got to understand what mentorship is, number one. Mentorship, very simple. All it is the transference of ideas and beliefs. That's it. So if you haven't consciously selected a mentor, then I don't know if you've noticed this about people, every person on the planet's walking around sharing their ideas and sharing their beliefs. And since the introduction of social media and the phone, it's never been easier, has it? Everyone has an idea and everyone has a belief. They never say it to your face, but they'll say it to the phone. Now, if that's what mentorship is, and that is what it is, then when we select mentors, we better make sure that they have what we want, and we cannot listen to anybody else. And this is the danger. We are too open to too many different kinds of people. So I started working directly with Bob Proctor in May of 2017. And by August of 2018, I was working inside of his company as a sales and mindset coach there. And he would say this all the time. And he said it to me. He said, do exactly what I tell you to do until you find out I'm lying or I don't know what I'm talking about. And I became a very coachable guy to him. And whenever I had a confusion, I would just go up to him and I'd say, Bob, what's your belief on this? I remember one time I asked him at a Matrix event in Toronto. I went up to him and I was like, Bob, I've been hearing this idea around there's an infinite supply. And I said, do you believe there's an infinite supply? And he said, yes. And I said, that's my belief. So you're not after your mentor's ideas solely, you're after their belief system. Because it's the belief system, the state of mind that's producing all the results that you're attracted to. You're not necessarily attracted just to someone's beliefs. Like you're not going to look at a person as a composite of beliefs. You look at people through their results. But you need to understand that every result is produced by a belief. Every result is produced by a state of mind. So what we have to understand is that we have to get after that state of mind. And if you find someone that you're very attracted to, forget about their results. Start to observe their belief system. You must start to acquire their belief system. So I was very attracted to Bob. I loved Bob Proctor. I liked the amount of money he was earning. I liked how he lived. I liked what he did for work. I liked how he taught these ideas. I just thought he was the most amazing person to grace the earth. And I became obsessed with him. And I had him help me too, which was unbelievable, which I attracted. I must have had an obsessive mind. But that's what I would do. I just became very casual about shifting my belief system. If I found a belief that I was unsure about, I would also take it and I would just put it on the shelf. Say, you know what? I'll put this belief away for now. I'm not going to get involved in it. I'm going to put it up on the shelf. I'll come back for you in a year or two if this new belief I'm acquiring or embodying doesn't produce results. Well, I've never gone back and picked an old belief off a shelf. It's the beliefs that we're after. That is what we're after. We're listening to people. We're listening to podcasts. We're gathering information at ridiculous rates. I actually think we're damaging ourselves with the amount of information we're acquiring. Are you changing your beliefs? Do you even know what your beliefs are? Are you willing to let go of the person that you are? Because true manifestation, I'll repeat this, true manifestation is manifesting a new identity, a new belief system.
I love it. I suffer from information overload too, which is one of the reasons I only do things a couple of times, because by the time I do this thing a couple of times, I'm on to something else. Because I listen to a lot of podcasts, I read a lot of books, and I'm always learning. But I like what you say. Instead of just, regurgitating the information, try to find the belief behind it and change your belief systems on there. I love that.
And focus on that. So it's like, how long are you willing to change the belief? Like how long are you willing to focus on something? Like when I started to work with Bob, he used to be a big advocate of the book Think and Grow Rich. And he told me, he said, I want you to read Think and Grow Rich every day for the decision chapter and every day for the next 90 days. Well, it didn't stop at 90 days. That went on for 18 months. Reading it every day, every single day like that, like a lunatic person. And that's how you acquire the belief system. He used to tell a story about Earl Nightingale. When he worked with him, he'd go into his office, and Earl had, for the viewers, I got this I got a book and a book stand that keeps a page open. And he'd go into Earl Nightingale's office, and when he'd go in there, he noticed that Earl always had a page of a book open. And he went in there 3 months later, and Earl was still on the same page. And he said, Earl, what the heck, man? He's like, you slow reader or what? And he said to him, he's like, I noticed you haven't changed the page of that book. And Earl Nightingale said something to him that basically changed his whole life and has changed mine as well, because Bob has shared it with me too. He said, Bob, your life has been created through repetition of thought, and it will be recreated the exact same way. He said to him, I don't change the page until the ideas on the page are mine.
Part of me. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like this one on my right now, this is we're coming up on 4 months on this one. And all I read is this. You want me to read it to you?
Yeah, sure. What does it say?
Okay. Yeah. It says spirit creates by self-contemplation. Therefore, what it contemplates itself as being, that it becomes. You are individualized spirit. Therefore, what you contemplate as the law of your being, which is your belief system, your being what you contemplate as the law of your being becomes the law of your being. So what you contemplate your belief system to be, that becomes your belief system. And I'm telling you here and now, for all of your listeners, you can start swapping out your belief system like that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because we are spirit. Yeah, and thought is spirit. And all those things we were talking about is all spirit. And that's definitely how you change anything and how you manifest anything. It's the spiritual part of you that does all that. I love that. Awesome. This is an excellent conversation. So let's move on to the mind, which is the most incredible thing that humans have. How do you teach your clients in your consulting group to discover the power of their minds?
Yeah, so there's we need to put the mind on a foundation. So one of my goals in life is to make manifestation logical, because I believe that if something's happening in the universe, it's happening by law. We may not know the law behind it, but there is always a law at the back of it. So I think we want to grasp the idea that we're a spiritual being or a universal being. We have an intellect and we live in a physical body. So let's get honest with each other. Like, the chances of a person truly creating great success is very low, because you got this spiritual side of yourself that's always wanting to expand and express. And that's the nature of it. And that's the universal side of you. But then you got this darn intellect, this mind that works on a polarity. So it's like, it could be negative, positive, it's infinite, it's ridiculous, really, is what it is. And you got this imagination and go anywhere, up, down, left, right, in, out, like off you go. So you got to manage that darn thing. And then you have to manage your body. So you got to make sure you're walking it and feeding it and doing it at the right time, whatever the hell. So it's very difficult. So we actually live on different dimensions all at the same time. So the physical world is the third dimension, length times width times height. Now, the human mind can only compute the third dimension. Feeling is in a higher dimension. That's why you can't actually get an image of a feeling. You might say, oh, I feel good, or I'm white hot, or whatever the heck. But you will have to come up with stories, analogies, metaphors, or examples to describe a feeling. Now, that's how the mind works. So the imagination works through images. Anything above the third dimension, the fourth dimension being time, anything above the third dimension, the human mind can't actually process, can't compute it. It's beyond us. So even when we talk about time, I've got this book called The Order of Time. Even when we talk about time, it's like 12 chapters, just 12 analogies and stories to try and explain what the heck time is. No one knows what it is. The same way that no one knows what the mind is. We know very, very little, but we do know this, that all energy is governed by law. So we know that energy is neither created nor destroyed. Therefore, if the mind is in the universe, the mind must be a form of energy. Now, when we start to think about the mind, we need to stop letting our eyes and our five senses trick us, thinking that, this is separate. And I'm holding a pen right now. So if I said to you, like, well, what is this? And you say, well, that's a pen. Okay, yeah, that's true. However, it's a thought in the form of a pen. It's still an idea. It's still a thought. So there's two forms of thought. There's intangible thought, which we're familiar with as in the non-physical, as you've been sharing about the vortex and the quantum field. But also there is tangible form of thought, manifested thought. And all it is, everything in the universe goes from a higher to a lower potential. So when it comes to the mind, you need to understand that your physical world is also the mind. Mm-hmm. And if you want to know what's going on the inside of your mind, all you need to do is look at the outside and you'll know exactly what it is. If you want to change the outside, you have to learn to change the inside.
Right.
So it's all mind. So the mind isn't just some, your imagination, your higher faculties you have. And there's five senses of the body. There's see, smell, taste, touch, and hear. So these help us communicate with our physical world. Mm-hmm. But there are six faculties of the mind. There's perception, reason, imagination, memory, will, and intuition. And these six faculties, they help us communicate with the non-physical side of the universe, or the non-physical side of our personality. Mm. The more we lean into the six higher faculties and detach from the five senses, the faster a person starts to grow. Because the five senses are the last place that'll experience a person's goal.
Mm-hmm. Boy, this is deep. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Yes. Yes. Like I said, I read a lot of books, and one of the books that I was reading, I think it was Eckhart Tolle that was talking about that you've got to get rid of your five senses in order to go into a different perception, sensory perception. And it's very hard to do. It's very hard to do.
Practice.
Yeah, you got to practice. So if we were to summarize what you just said, because this is very deep. So, and of course, this show is all about mind and mindset. So, as Deepak Chopra says, nobody knows where the mind is. It's not in the brain. It's out there. But we can say that it's energy, right? It's beautiful that you listed the six the 6 areas of the mind. So if we were to bring it back into our conversation now, manifesting, how does letting go of your 5 senses, working more with the mind, help you bring things from the vortex, which is unmanifested potential, into the physical realm? I know that's a big one.
Yeah. Well, I think if you understand, like, when people like poo-poo the idea of manifestation or something, this is ridiculous. Or, they poo-poo the idea of law of attraction. Well, that's ridiculous. Like, if someone says they don't believe in the law of attraction, they're just expressing their ignorance, because the law of attraction is the binding force of the entire universe. Everything vibrates and everything is attracted to an energy field that vibrates with it. So if you took oil and you took vinegar and you put them together, they would repel each other. They do not bond. And this is the same with when we have goals. We have to learn how to fuse with the idea. What is the key thing to do? Well, number one, you start to take it as an outright exercise. Like, you have to integrate it into your day. You have to have it as a bona fide power. If you don't believe it's a bona fide power, it will not be a bona fide power. Because I'll repeat exactly what I've been reading for the last few months. He says, you are individualized spirit. Therefore, what you contemplate as the law of your being becomes the law of your being. So real manifestation is manifesting a new belief system. Because if you start putting information into a belief system that's going to reject the information, it's not going to produce it. It'll kick it out.
Right.
Okay. So when we start to think about people, when we start to understand what's really going on, we'll start to learn that really every human being, all we're ever trying to do is move a thought from our mind into the world. This could be as simple as, I gotta pee. I want to go have a coffee. The extent of most people's decision making and imagination is like what they're going to order for lunch.
Right.
Yeah. So it's all just, and if the new idea is in harmony with the belief system, that idea will be allowed to pass. If the new idea is not in harmony with the belief system, that idea will not pass. I was at an event and there's a couple hundred people at it, and there's this lady talking. She was a German lady, Catherine von Smarthead was her name, and she was a wildcat, and her results are unbelievable. I think she was earning over 10 million a year, and she was saying to everybody, like, manifestations is as easy as eating ice cream, and that's what she used to say, which is very easy to eat ice cream, isn't it?
Easy for her to say.
Yeah, and she used to say this, and I thought to myself, as I was listening to her, I was like, you know what? What she's saying is true. It's not going to work for anybody else in this room because they don't believe that. Right? But they can.
Well, it's easy as eating ice cream when you know what to do. It's like, if you're roller skating, I mean, you can roller skate in your sleep if you know how to roller skate. But if you don't...
That's right.
So I don't know why I brought up skating, but I know what she's trying to say. But again, it's the process of learning how to make it as easy as eating ice cream, right? You're not going to wake up and be able to do it all of a sudden, No,
that's kind of rude, But however, you can have quantum leaps if you at least even if your audience even starts to neutralize some of their current beliefs, and just like say, you know what, I'm going to put you up on the shelf. I'm going to put you up there for a couple of years. And I'm going to give myself, I have a right as a human being to explore different realities. I have a right as a human being I don't have to be fixed from my genetic programming and to be fixed from my environmental programming. Like, don't tell my mother this, hardcore Catholic, like, if she would know that I put my own religion up on a shelf, she would, think I'm going to hell or something. But I think we got to know our rights. I think we got to know our rights, that we are allowed to change.
Right.
It's okay to change. It's okay.
Yes. Yeah. Listen, I know that. And like I said, I've been dabbling in it, and now you've made me recognize that I got to put more work in. So that's beautiful. All right. So yeah, I'm loving this conversation. It's very, very insightful and very deep. And I could understand why you're so successful, because yes, you embody your beliefs and you walk and talk it. So that's amazing. So what are some of the daily habits of manifestors? Now, I know that one of the things I love what you said earlier is that you get rid of Dave when you go to bed, and when you wake up, you decide who you want to be. So that's one of the habits. What are some of the other habits that manifestors can do?
Well, right now, so visualization is a foundational habit for me. The habit of visualizing, and not just like only solely, lying down or sitting in a chair and visualizing, but also using that practice all the time throughout the day. So it's like, start to transmute in your mind, start to see everything as you want it to be. So whenever you look at something, conjure like an image in your mind of how you'd like it to be. And use this in all links, because the reason that we get stressed out is because the outside world is not in harmony with like really what we want. So start to use just visualization in everything. So the habit of visualization is foundational. Now, what we want to understand is that what I'm into right now, and I go on and off this, and I probably just stay on it, to be honest. We need to grasp that the subconscious mind is the emotional mind. So your feeling mind. So it responds to emotion. So what I do is I have a timer, and I will verbally and aggressively auto-suggest for 5 minutes straight, 3 times a day. And I will affirm it, and I'll affirm it, and I'll affirm it, and I will shout it out, and I will push that idea into my sub, and I will override my current state of mind. That practice has worked every time. So visualizations work every time too. But right now I'm in this place where my results have been great. However, I feel like, there's got to be another quantum leap coming up right away. So I'm just pumping the idea in there. I'm getting fairly aggressive with it. And I'll do this, and I'll get very aggressive, very firm with our paradigm. Because as you start to grow, you can hit a comfort zone at any level. Right. Any level. Of course. So you got to have urgency in attacking it. So that's another practice that I do. And another one that's a non-negotiable is I study every day. I study every single day, and I'll study the same essay. So in my mentorships, we'll study the same essay for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, over and over and over every day. We don't change ideas until those ideas are built into our own consciousness. So I think a lot of people read, but they don't study. You can't study a podcast unless you came back. I would advise that your audience don't listen to any other your podcasts. Listen to this one every day for the next 30 days and sit down with it with a pen and paper and start to write and study it. Study things I'm saying and start to embody it through repetition of the same information over and over and over. It'll become fixed in your consciousness. When that happens, that's when you will benefit from it. So I study every day. So I visualize every day. I study every day. I try and transmute every circumstance and situation into an experience that I would want it to be. So I'm always relaxed. And then I do aggressive auto-suggestion 3 times a day, 5 minutes, over and over and over and over and over.
That's amazing. Now, for those who has not read You Think and Grow Rich, he's using some words from there, auto-suggestion and transmute, and those are words from that book. So yeah, I have it on my shelf. I will go pick that back up again and study it instead of reading it. And yeah, I think somebody I'm thinking of someone that was teaching this before, that you don't read a book, you study it, you highlight, you pencil out, you go back and understand what it says. And I read books, I listen to them while I'm walking, and I retain 5%, because that's basically what happens. You just listen, right? I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, I said at best, yeah. Because even in this conversation, like even as your audience listens to the podcast, they're going to leave on a thought trip. So they've probably only really been here for like 5-10% of it, and they're going to leave on a thought trip. So, having information around you is fine. Like if you're listening in the background is fine, I guess. But I'll tell you, you want to really get some power, sit and study. If a person started to study 30, 60 minutes every day, they would be in mastery levels within 5 years.
I love it. All right. You've just recruited me. Because yes, I love learning. And you're right. Instead of moving on to the next book and the next book, I will definitely study and learn. And I love what you're saying, your quote that you have there. We're all spirit. And if you contemplate the spirit, then the spirit will contemplate you, somewhere on that line. But but I'm getting the picture, right? Yes. It's almost like what you said is you become what you think about. So that's just another way of saying that. So yes. Right. I love that. And by the way, I didn't mention it before, but I love Earl Nightingale, and I love Bob Proctor. Yes, those two were the foundation. Of course, Neil Carnegie, who wrote, the Think and Grow Rich books. Those are the three foundational personal development guys. So I love it. Everybody else is just copying from what they started with. So it's nice.
And I like to stay with like my wife makes fun of me saying like, you don't read any books that aren't at least 100 years old, And I say, well, why should I? Because for me, if there's not a significant spiritual component, it's incomplete, because you're a spiritual being, you have an intellect, and you live in a physical body. So to understand that we really do have a mind, every human being has come over to this plane of world already rich. Napoleon Hill had this beautiful prayer, which I've adopted, and it says, Divine Providence, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom to use the riches that I received at birth with the power to take possession of my own mind and to direct it to any desire that I wish. And to not ask for more, but to ask to be empowered more, to understand that you already have everything you need. You've been carrying around with you your whole life. It's been with you as you're listening to this podcast. It's been with you every step of the way. It's sitting with you right now. You have infinite potential. And when you start to understand you don't need more, what you need is more power.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes. More power to know that you've got everything I need, just to be able to
That's right.
pack it and understand it and use it for the kingdom.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. Now I have one question here that I want to get to before we get on to how our listeners can contact you. What can someone do right now to increase their income? Is it something new or something we've talked about already?
Yeah, you can do two part. So we'll do number one, how much money do you want to earn? Make a decision. Okay. Number one. So Myrna, we'll use Myrna as an example, 50,000, right? That's your goal. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. All right. So decide right now, how much money do you want to earn a month? Okay. So with Myrna, it's 50 grand. Now, what I would say to Myrna and what I'll say to you, okay, once you select that, build some sort of a experience like me in the bank that would reflect that wish fulfilled, that complete. Then you do that. Step 3, then sit down, ask yourself, who is the woman, who is the man, who is the person that is producing that? And then the 4th, start to go the extra mile in everything you do. Start to just release more energy in everything you do. So I had this client, her name was Megan Conway, and she was a stay-at-home mom. She would earn about $1,000 a month part-time with her. She sell the Kangen machines. And I met her in Los Angeles. She was actually from Canada too, but I met her in Los Angeles. And we're chatting in the coffee line. And I said, what's your goal? And she said, oh, my goal is to earn 100 grand a month. I said, wow, that's a great goal. I said, how much do you earn now? And she's like, I earn $1,000 a month. And I said, I'll show you how to do that. And she said, well, how are you going to do that? She said, I'm a single mother. Sorry, she was a single mother. I'm a stay-at-home mother. I said, I don't care. I said, do you want to earn $100,000 a month or not? And she said, yeah. I said, all right, do exactly what I tell you to do. Within 14 months, she went from earning $1,000 a month to $100,000 a month in 14 months. Now, she was a very interesting client because she would fight with me a lot. And there was this one period in those 14 months where she disappeared for almost 3 months because I offended her so much. So she used to always come at me and give me a reason why she couldn't get it. Yeah. That's right. And I'd say to her, and that's all I ever told her. I said, Megan, I don't care if you're wiping a baby's butt. I don't care if you're getting groceries. I don't care if you're out for a walk. I don't care if you're on family vacation. Megan, I do not care what you are doing. Everything you do, you're always pretending in your mind you hold the image of the woman that makes $100,000 a month. Because nothing is stopping. That's right. Nothing stops a person from thinking the image. You do that by yourself. Your dreams can only be killed by you. No other person has this power.
That's good. That's good. And I got to figure out my belief too, because when you talk about somebody going from $1,000 a month to $100,000 a month, the first thing is that you think about is, oh, that's a joke. But it happens. Oh, well. All right. Well, listen,
image.
There's going to be a lineup for people to come to talk to you. So tell them how our listeners can get in touch with Conway Consulting and talk about your website, talk about your social media handles, and anything else you want to talk about your program.
Yeah. So send me, you can reach me. Instagram's good because I'm very interactive on there. So just Conway Consulting. So CONWAY Consulting on Instagram. You'll see this like really, really attractive man. Just I mean, image of a very, very handsome man.
He's fine, ladies. He's handsome.
So anyway, you find me on Instagram, and then on there, come and hit a follow. And I'm releasing content all the time, and I always do little free workshops on there for everybody. But also, when you find me on there, on my bio, there is a thing called the 21-Day Manifestation Challenge. And if any of your audience is looking to improve their ability to create clear mental pictures and improve their ability to concentrate and focus, that's the 21-Day Challenge will do it. And we're having like just feedback pouring in every day now of people that are manifesting. Some people are manifesting their desires within 2 days, 14 days. Some people within 45 days, but it works. It really does work. Every person on the planet is very powerful. And I think we got to start to understand that on the deeper level.
Thank you. I will definitely be one of the people that will be taking this challenge. Yes. And yes, I definitely follow you on social media as well. There'll be do you have a website that you want to share?
Yeah, www.conway.consulting.
Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. I will link out to Dave's website and his Instagram page on the show page, which is blog.myhelps.us. And also for, like he talked about studying, if there's something that you missed that you want to listen to or read again, there'll also be a transcript of my conversation with Dave. Listen, there were a lot of nuggets here today. So I sincerely hope that he said first of all, you need to go pick up the book, Think and Grow Rich, and start studying it and underlining it. One of the things that Dave said as well, that you've got to study and you got to learn every day. If you have a problem of visualizing, like me, holding clear mental pictures, definitely get with Dave, because he has a program that would allow you to start working on that. And that is definitely my problem too. Holding clear mental pictures. in the, in image format. I can hold it, just by the thought, but I can't see the image. So yeah, listen, you want to manifest. You don't want to get comfortable. You want to keep growing. One of the biggest things I took away from Dave is that he says that, his biggest month was 900 grand, but he's still working and studying and not getting comfortable, and just wanting to grow. So that is amazing. I loved everything about this conversation. I love that I'm learning as much as you were, by listening to this conversation. And I'm going to have some takeaways from here, call to actions that I'm going to do. First of all, definitely go follow Dave on Instagram, Conway Consulting. Definitely take his 21-day manifesting challenge. It's free. And if you need more than that, you say it's free, right?
Yeah, it's free.
Right, exactly. I thought so. Yeah, and if you want more, then definitely, hire him as a mentor. He mentioned in the beginning what mentorship is all about. And yeah, that's transference of beliefs. So yeah, I learned a lot. I can go on forever. I learned a lot from this conversation. So thank you so much, Dave, for being on the show. Thank you guys for continuing to tuning to transform your mind so that you can transform your life. Today, we were talking about the mind, getting out of the physical limitations and going into the mind and going into the fourth dimension and getting out of the physicality, because not much change happens when you are, stuck in the physical. You're limited there. We want to be limitless. All right. You can tell I'm excited, right, Dave?
I love it.
Yes, I am. Yes, you have shot me in the arm. All right. So any last words before we wrap up?
No, I think I'd like to leave everybody with just two ideas. Number one, you're very powerful. You've been blessed with an infinite potential, infinite power, because you have a mind and you can take possession of that mind and you can direct it. And I like to always end all my talks with a quote from Earl Nightingale: "You are now, and you will become what you think about." Your life is nothing more than the culmination of thoughts, and if you want to change the future, you got to change the thoughts today. But there's a power that'll support you in doing that. So if anybody here is interested in, really starting to understand these ideas and maybe give them a test run with me, join the 21-day challenge over on Instagram. I promise you won't regret it.
Yes, for sure. That is definitely a call to action that you guys should take Dave up on. All right, guys. Well, listen, I can go on forever in this conversation, but, we all have a hard stop. So thank you, Dave, for being on the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're watching this on iTunes, we'd love for you to rate, review, leave a comment. If you're on, watching this on YouTube, we'd love for you to do the same thing. Leave a comment that encourages Dave, encourages the show, and also hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Dave. And until next time, namaste.